Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts. And I'm excited to kick off Season 2 of our podcast series in partnership with Rappahannock Electric Cooperative. It's called We Are REC. Every week we'll release a new episode talking to different people from REC about a host of different topics. We'll get tips for saving money on your electric bill. We'll talk about renewable energy and the impact it can have in our communities. We'll get some behind-the-scenes info about what happens when the power goes out in a storm. Don't miss out on information about community grants, scholarships, REC-hosted events, and more. Get every single episode on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab. Or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or on Spotify. Just do a quick search for We Are REC. Hello and welcome to the Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. We are live in the studio. This is the live show that almost wasn't.
Hey, you know. Okay, first things first. I told you I didn't know what we were going to talk about, Janet, but I got something I got to do.
Oh, no, wait a minute. You said it was a mulligan stew,
yeah.
Which took me back to my grade school days.
But I got something I got to do. All right?
Okay.
Don't roll your eyes. Don't say anything yet.
Should I turn my mic off?
No. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my little baby. 20 years old today. Happy birthday to you. All right. It's my daughter's birthday, so I had to do that. She's in Richmond, but she's going to listen to the podcast. So.
And there's only about 3 people I would have allowed you to do that for, and she's definitely on that list, so okay.
Well, and that makes her a little bit even because my oldest daughter, who is now 27, I sang to her on her 4th birthday here on the air with Michael West and I. We called her up early in the morning, had her live on the radio. She's halfway groggy and asleep, and we sang happy birthday. And it's actually one of the little air check things that I have. She put it on YouTube. When she was old enough, she got a hold of it, put it on YouTube. So it's a little competition, you know. Daddy loves me more, Daddy loves me more. And it's like, Daddy loves you both the same.
Okay, I'm trying to think. So how would you take something on an 8-track air check and get it to YouTube?
It was cassette, but thank you very much. And now you can take the cassettes and transfer them to digital,
yeah,
which I've done a few with now just for prosperity's sake when I'm feeling low and want a little reminder of what I used to do before I do what I do now.
The before times.
Yeah, because right now I think a little more about the before times.
Well, and you have had a crazy busy 24 hours. I joked at the top of the show about this was the live show that almost wasn't. You literally came rolling in here in the nick of time, leaving the scene, and you have had several scenes that you have been dealing with over the last 24 to 48 hours at the Frederick County Sheriff's Office.
Well, I can tell you what, we were just part of a vehicle pursuit that came out of West Virginia and into our jurisdiction and then back into West Virginia before the subjects bailed on foot. They have been apprehended. Several charges of reckless endangerment, felony eluding. They were over 100 miles an hour through a construction zone, which is why West Virginia was trying to stop them in the first place. And I won't get into too much detail, but what I'm trying to say is that's our third in 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Virginia State Police, and I want to say either Warren County or Shenandoah County, had a pursuit yesterday that came into our jurisdiction and ended on the interstate when there was a crash when the suspects tried to elude and ended up going the wrong way on the interstate briefly, hit the rear end of a tractor trailer, spun, and then made contact with another car. No one was hurt.
Now, they also jumped out of the car and took off.
One couldn't because they were injured slightly. No other civilians were injured, and that's the great news there. But that's apparently a part of a drug-related arrest going on. And so, you know, we have these things. It's middle of the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's like, is there a full moon?
It's pandemic craziness.
And we joke around about it. And I'll put this out there, folks, because Janet's laughing, and I chuckle a little bit. We joke about this, and I joke about it because it's a stress reliever, because I'm happy, number one, no civilians were hurt, no officers were hurt, and even the suspects were not hurt. And so, yeah, we can make light of it now, but it's for some of those folks that don't realize what your local law enforcement agencies are out here doing every day. If you don't have a scanner, if you're not glued to certain social media outlets, you're not hearing the good news. And when I say good news, the fact of law enforcement is out here trying to protect you and your family. You're not hearing about that. You're not going to hear about this particular pursuit, perhaps, because it in and out of several jurisdictions in West Virginia and Virginia, nobody hurt and no scandalous news. So, it's going to be pretty much that's it.
I may not have known about the one yesterday if my husband hadn't gotten stuck in the traffic on Route 11 coming home, which is where everything kind of filtered once 81 was shut down.
Once the interstate got shut down, everyone, rerouted onto 11, and it can only handle so much traffic.
So what is protocol in those kinds of situations? Is it the lead agency? So does West Virginia get the lead? Is it Warren County over Frederick County if it starts? Is it where it finishes? How does that work logistically?
Here's the thing. It's, where you are at the moment takes precedent.
Okay.
Because I'm not an agent for the West Virginia State Police or the West Virginia DMV or the West Virginia government. So if I'm in West Virginia, my powers as a sheriff's deputy become rather limited. Now, if someone runs from our jurisdiction in Frederick County into West Virginia, there are some people that believe at that invisible line, hey, you should stop.
Right.
All right. Well, we could stop pursuing, and perhaps that person would slow down and start driving like they have some sense and not be a risk to anybody up ahead. But what if they don't? Mm-hmm. What if we shut down right at the line, even though we have support coming from the jurisdiction we're now in, and that person that we were pursuing continues to drive like that? Remember, this person was over 100 miles an hour in a construction zone before anybody was chasing them. So what if they continue to do that? They go around one of those corners or S-turns on Route 50 west and hit somebody, head on, or rear end somebody that stopped, waiting for a school bus to unload, or whatever the case may be. Then it's going to be, well, you had a duty to protect us. You had a duty to get this person off the road. It's a double-edged sword. So with your question, when we get notified that, another jurisdiction is attempting to stop somebody, then we start heading to where we believe the closest location of whatever road they're on is going to intersect with our jurisdiction, and we stand by. And we're either going to give them mutual aid if they request it and we have an agreement, or if we observe that person is now running from the West Virginia authorities and comes into Frederick County at triple digits, I now have my own probable cause to stop this person because now they're endangering the folks in our jurisdiction. And so at that point, normally, we would take over the lead of the pursuit, and the other authorities would fall behind, hoping that we're going to get this guy stopped so everybody can then ID the person and get the appropriate charges. As it turned out, this one, came into Virginia. We took over at one point. It got back into West Virginia. So they took back over, and we went back to Frederick County, and then they found the car where the subjects bailed on foot. They asked for assistance of canines. So, it's a team effort. And again, it's one of those things where you're not trying to glorify, not trying to pat ourselves on the back, but you don't realize the men and women of your local law enforcement agencies are out here every day. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this week, several of them put themselves on the line trying to get dangerous people off the roadway before they could hurt you or your family.
Well, and I know a week or so ago, the same thing happened in Warren County and spanned over to Strasburg, down to Stevens City. There was a whole nother, and they jumped out of the car, and it was insane for that one too. That was I think, was it a week or so ago? But yeah, Stephen, I think it started in Strasburg. It was on 81. It cut down 522.
I don't know all the particulars because I was gone last week.
Oh, yes,
but
Mr. Vacation.
But I got to know that it happened while I was gone. So it was like, and at 57 years old, you think, okay, you've gotten this out of your system. And it's like, but you haven't. Because you get into this job for a reason. And I don't mean any disrespect to anyone, especially to Sheriff Milholland, but we didn't get into this job for the paycheck.
Oh, yeah.
Because the paycheck really isn't.
Well, you and I have had that conversation. It's not why I'm sitting here.
So the people didn't get into this for the paycheck. They got into it, I hope, I know in my case, and the guys that work under me, you got into it because you want to make a difference. You have goals. With me, it was DUI. That was my goal. Anybody that's heard my presentation knows about my childhood growing up and how alcohol affected members of my family and the deaths that actually took place in my family. And so for me, that was my goal when I first became law enforcement. I was going to get drunk drivers off the road. I've now expanded that to a wider range of overall traffic safety. But I'm telling you, Janet, we had another person pass away as a result of a traffic crash. The crash was also last week, 3 motorcycles that crashed on Route 50 East in Frederick County, and now one of those riders has passed away due to his injuries. And it's like we've had more traffic-related deaths than we've had coronavirus-related deaths in our jurisdiction.
In this area, yeah.
And I'm not trying to downplay the coronavirus, but we're allowing people to do something every day that puts them at risk. And again, we come back to people want to say, well, don't you have something better to do? With this pandemic going on, are you really going to write me a ticket for speeding? Are you really going to write me a ticket for running a red light, stop sign, whatever the moving violation is? And my answer is yes. I am going to write it. And my other answer is no, I don't have anything better to do because this is what the sheriff has asked me to do. We want to make it as safe as possible for everyone because people are dying every day as a result of traffic fatalities. And so something has to be done. And if some folks can't look out for themselves, then as community caretakers, which we've been labeled in law enforcement to a degree, we have a responsibility. And of course, now some people are talking about, hey, let's defund the police.
It's the worst slogan ever. Can I just say?
And I'm glad I researched it a little bit more. When they talk about defunding the police,
it's not at all what it sounds like.
Yeah, they're not necessarily talking about disbanding and doing away with. What they want to do is take a chunk of the sheriff's budget, let's say, and give that to social services or family welfare or whatever the
mental
name.
Health professionals, any number of different allocations to different groups.
And let's have those folks deal with some of the issues that currently we're asking law enforcement to deal with. And I can tell you what, there are plenty of law enforcement officers that say, hey,
thank you.
We welcome the help, okay? Because sometimes we're being put into a situation where it's like, we've had a 4-hour, 8-hour course in how to talk to someone, how to recognize certain signs, don't stand too close, don't touch, so you're dealing with someone that's autistic or someone that's nonverbal, but is that really enough training? It may not be. So when they talk about defunding the police, I hate to see any of our budget be taken away because we're struggling in certain areas. But any help that we can get with some of these other areas that have people that have been educated and trained, more power to them. You'll find that a lot of us on this side of the fence are going to be like, hey,
thank you. We're open to it.
We'll take the help. But the other thing I want to put out there is, again, and I'm not bashing the media. I'm here on the radio. So I'm not bashing media in general, but there are a lot of media outlets right now that are just playing the hype.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it takes to get that person to click on their website, tune into their station, DVR whatever they're watching later on the news. And all they're going with are the negatives. And it's unfortunate that we do have them. And some of them out there are like, I scratch my head. If I could say the H word here, I'd say it. What are you thinking? But
Mike Odell's not in charge anymore. But I don't. You're not going to say that on. You told that story on the air.
Sheriff Milholland. He'd be like, "Did you really have to say that, Warren, Lieutenant?" But no, and you scratch your head. But then you think about all the other good things that happened in that same day, the lives that were saved, the people that were pulled from burning cars, the CPR that saved someone's life, the Narcan that saved the overdose victim. I could go on. And that's just here locally in our area. You think about it taking place all across the country. Mm-hmm. All I'm asking, and then I'm going to get off of this topic, all I'm asking is don't judge us all based on a very few. Because I think that's what other people are asking.
Yeah.
Don't judge us based on appearance. Don't judge us based on who we like. Don't judge us based on who we choose to worship. And so all I'm saying is don't judge those of us that wear a uniform and a badge based on the actions of a few who also somehow
managed to get
the badge and the uniform even though they didn't deserve it.
Well, I'm going to give you a chance to get off your soapbox, so we're going to take a break.
Dun, dun, dun.
We'll come back in a couple of minutes.
Happy birthday, Ash.
Public Safety Thursday. Lieutenant Warren Gosnell from the Frederick County Sheriff's Office is here in the studio with me. We are live today. I am Janet Michael in the Valley Today. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Expecting to hear a commercial? That's what this is, sorta. First, I want to thank you for listening to the Valley Today podcast. You're one of thousands who listen to the show this way every month. Sometimes it's because our listeners are busy and they want to listen when it fits their schedule, or it's a guest of the show who want to hear what they sounded like when they were on the radio. We even have a few binge listeners who listen to a week's worth at a time. Can you even imagine? So if you want those people, your potential customers, to hear your message, then this could have been your ad. And the bonus, your commercial isn't restricted to just 30 or 60 seconds. You can take up to 2 minutes to talk to those customers, and there's even the opportunity to be an exclusive sponsor of the Valley Today podcast, which also gets you on-air mentions at the end of every show. If any of this sounds interesting to you, give me a call at the station, 540-635-4121, or send me an email to janet@theriver953.com. You can also find all my contact info by searching for me on theriver953.com. Welcome back to the Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. We are live in the studio for Public Safety Thursday. Across the desk from me is Lieutenant Warren Gosnell from the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. And this is one of the few shows that we are doing that we did not have kind of a list of things.
Due to my late arrival.
Due to your late arrival, because you were serving our community. But right before Kemp started his weather and we were getting ready to go back on the air, you said we were talking about getting political and that sort of thing. So I have a question for you that I have not pre-warned
I said
you.
I didn't want to get too political, but I felt certain things needed to be addressed.
And this may or may not be political, but it is personal to me, so I have a question.
All right.
My question to you is, when localities that you serve, whether it's Stephen City, that obviously has its own police force, Middletown, places like that, when they decide they're going to have an event, do they have to request help from Frederick County Sheriff's Office? Do they have to get permission? How does that work when they decide they're going to do something that,
Well, if a municipality or an organization is doing something within its own borders and it has its own government in place, mayor, town council, or whatever, then obviously they don't need our permission to do a Mayfest or an Oktoberfest or whatever other
fireworks.
Fest. They're able to set that up on their own. As far as requesting our assistance with logistics, getting people in and out, shutting roads down, then they'll reach out and ask, and we're more than happy to help. Because again, and I think I know, just based on your body language, that you're probably not
I am
happy.
not thrilled that we
Yeah.
are having fireworks
You're
in
not
Middletown
happy.
because I think Middletown is a tiny little town and it's a great little tiny little small town, and we do not need 300,000 people coming from all over the state of Virginia to watch some fireworks go up in the air. I think it's ridiculous.
Well,
There you go. There's my opinion.
Well, I don't believe we'll have 300,000 people. But here's the way I look at it, Janet. You asked me, so I'm going to give
Yeah.
you my honest answer. And the sheriff can vouch for me. I like to play devil's advocate, but I also like to keep PR in mind because I believe good public relations for everyone is what we're striving for. And I look at it as Middletown has a chance now to do something for the community, not just your neighbors, but Frederick County canceled their fireworks. All right? I'm not going to say how old I think you are. I know you're younger than me, but you're older than my 20-year-old daughter whose birthday's today. Happy birthday, Ash. To you, fireworks are one thing. But I'm telling you, I work that event every year, and I watch those kids, and I mean, we always get the summer shower, and it gets humid as all get out, and it's uncomfortable. But those kids, I mean, they eat that stuff up, and now I'm going to go back. I remember the fireworks when I were growing up were sparklers and the little black snake pellets that you lit up.
Yes,
All right,
I remember those.
that was the extent of my fireworks, Janet. So I think it's good PR, and if it's run right, if logistics are handled correctly, things can go smoothly, people can have a good time, and I'd rather it be in my own backyard than me having to travel somewhere else if it were my children that I wanted to have enjoy this event. So there are two sides to it. And I can see part of yours, but I can see part of why, keep the tradition alive. This pandemic thing is I don't want to say that phrase. It's just, it's putting a crunch on everything. And right now, as I said, 3 pursuits in 3 days may have nothing at all
Wow.
to do with what's going on. But I think some of the events that we're seeing are being fueled a little bit by people's frustrations with the current economic situation, the current restrictions on where you can and can't go. Do you have to wear a mask or not wear a mask? Can you get into the favorite restaurant that you haven't been able to eat at for months now? And I mean, whatever small thing that we can do, and especially us in public safety, then we want to be a part of it. We'll be there. I'm going to be there for the parade. My guys will be there. Sheriff is helping out Middletown. Middletown will be there. Stephen City will be there. We're going to help with the fireworks. We're going to get everybody in and out as safe as possible. And hopefully everybody will have a good time. And if that hour to 2 hours takes some of this stress away, that's my answer to you.
Well, and I am not against fireworks. Again, fireworks are great. Fireworks are fantastic.
As long as you're not in my town.
Well, no, it's not even that because we have been doing them in Middletown for a lot of years. I can see them from my porch, so I don't even have to leave and go down to the park to watch them. That in and of itself isn't the big deal. But when other localities around us are choosing not to have theirs for safety reasons because they weren't sure what was going to happen with phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, or any of that sort of thing, and then you take a town the size of Middletown, not the size of the city of Winchester or even Frederick County as a whole, and decide you're going to have them and invite everybody from all of those surrounding counties to one little tiny town of 1,300 people. It just didn't make sense to me. It seemed like it was...
And you know what? Now that little tiny town is the center of attention. Make her shine. That I'm telling you. You asked my opinion. If I got that kind of opportunity, if I get that kind of opportunity now to help make the sheriff's office shine and outshine some of the bigger agencies like state agencies or Washington, D.C., New York, if we could do something that put us out there and show people what law enforcement in this day and age is like and what we as people are like underneath the uniform and the badge, I'm going to do it. And so if Middletown has a chance to shine because others are like, hey, I mean, you either believe there's truly a risk, and that's one thing, or you believe, okay, it's an outdoor event. Certain things could be done as long as they're done safely. And we're going to continue to do it. And I think that's, I'm not affiliated with the Middletown town government and not affiliated with the PD, but that's the way I see it. And I think that's the way they're probably approaching it.
I just hope it goes off without a hitch. I mean, I do hope that it doesn't, but my concern is a traffic issue. It's the number of people that are coming into town. It's just all of these other factors that I think are unnecessary when they could have done something in a different way.
Well, I can tell you, we'll be speaking further. The chief and I are going to be speaking.
And I love the chief of Middletown, let me say.
Great,
he's done the show.
Great guy. He is a great guy. And we're going to speak about some of the concerns that we have as first responders and pass it on to the committee because we want them to know, hey, we're the ones on the front line. Here's what we think we should do, especially in this instance. So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
And that was part of the reasoning behind my initial question is just how does that work from a logistics to make sure that safety is the priority for everybody when you have a couple of different agencies that are going to be involved?
Well, and normally you like a little bit of a larger planning period. But permits that were required didn't come through till recently. And so once the permits came through, now we're hitting the ground running. But I can tell you, if any of us have our way, it's not only going to be safe, but it's going to be fun for the people who do attend and who make it there.
You're gonna...
The weather's the deal, though, because every year we have that afternoon thunderstorm. And I'm like, hey, let's move the parade to earlier in the day because it's always beautiful earlier in the day.
And it's funny, too, because speaking of the parade, I think I even texted you last year because the parade has its route down Route 11 and then back up one of the side streets and then I think down Church Street. And then it ends like at the stop sign, I think at First and Main or whatever it is from the one traffic light. And we're at the other end of Church. So we get to see the disbursement parade. We don't actually have to go and watch the parade because as it disperses, it comes right by our house by virtue of getting back out to the mainland.
Well, I've always thought that was it's a neat route. It goes right down Main Street, hangs to the left, and then goes back through the little housing area. And I thought, how much more small town, how much community oriented can you get than being able to sit on your front porch, even though you don't live on Main Street, and get to have the parade come by. And I'm telling you, since you asked, when we did the Easter Bunny during this pandemic, and I escorted the Easter Bunny riding in the Cadillac behind me, I mean, I was thinking, how many people are going to come out and partake in this?
Oh, there were a lot.
And I can tell you there were. And there were smiles, there were giggles. I will have the lemonade cold and on ice and ready for you at the end of all of this. Well, depending on where they post me, if I can get close to your place. After this, I may be posted somewhere I don't want to be.
Well, that's true.
Thanks, Janet.
You and I both may be relegated to just podcasting after all of this. I know we have to wrap up, but it just occurred to me that when we did the show last month, we talked about that this month we were going to talk about the traffic laws that are coming into July. So maybe I'll bring you back a little bit earlier instead of the fourth Thursday in July, and we'll do another show and talk about the traffic laws and things that are
July 1, new laws are going on the books. The one that the biggie is the hands-free, no more cell phones in your hand, but you have until the beginning of January before it's actually going to take effect. It's hitting the books in July, but it doesn't take effect.
I thought about that today because I was on the phone coming in on speaker and I was holding it in my hand and thought, why am I holding this? I can put it in my cup holder and still talk and hear just as easily.
And people are going to have to get used to the idea of you can't have it in your hand at all now because they got used to, well, I can do this, this, and this. I just can't do this. Well, now you can't hold it.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be the thing, and I think that's why we're given that
grace period.
Yeah, that training, get materials out there, driver's ed materials and, DMV materials. So, yeah, we can do that. We'll look at the dates.
All right. Well, we are going to wrap up today. Oh, well, you know what? I got so caught up in us going back and forth that I didn't even start my music. So here, let me start my music. And now we have 60 seconds. Do you want to say happy birthday to your daughter one more time? I'm not sure 2 or 3 times.
How'd you know it was my daughter's birthday? Happy birthday, Ash.
And
Happy belated birthday, Hannah.
Oh, yeah. See, there you go. And I would be remiss because I do this every show if I did not say how much I adore my favorite sheriff, Sheriff Lenny Milholland.
Yeah, nothing about me.
He's probably not going to be very pleased with me that I wasn't happy about the whole fireworks situation. But that's a conversation that he and I will have. And you know, this is the beauty of what we just did here. We can both have our opinions. We can have a disagreement on our opinions. And we can still be friends at the end of it and go back to making fun of each other as soon as the mics go off.
We have to wait till the mics go off?
Well, we do only because I'm watching this thing tick across here, and the time is going to be up. I am, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow is Friday.
The 26th.
United Way Day. I have already recorded it. Elise and Ryan from Blue Ridge Habitat will be on the show with me. Meet me back here a few minutes after noon tomorrow.